Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Push me on through until the battle's won. No one's gonna give nothing to us. Into each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight is done.
Hey guys, what's going on here? And it's time for another exciting review of Persona 5, the animation, episode 7. You never seen it coming! Alright, let's get down to it. So, it turns out that we got YUSUKE, and not Yorameshe, but we last left off that finally that An is laid to do the nude photo for him. But what happens is that they all planned this out. Well, actually, An planned it out where she would just wear like a whole bunch of clothes, pretend like she would gain about massive amount of weight, just to be like, you know, hey, like, you know, did I look like I gained weight? I don't know. Maybe I did. So basically, she was just doing that just to buy him some time, buy him some cover, etc. Oh my god! And I don't know. I don't remember if they did this in the video game, but like, I don't remember if they did this in the video game where basically they had like part of her bra that she like threw at like freaking Yusuke, like at the end where she was actually trying to make that big distraction pretty much. And it's like, okay then. But like I said, the episode itself is actually a very simple episode, but it is finally advancing things from what we gathered here. So as obvious, we find out that Monoyimike really is a really terrible human being of an artist who basically just takes copies of everybody else's art, uses them and abuses them, and actually pretty much takes credit, even though credit shouldn't really go to Monoyimike. So anyways, we find out while that's happening, we find out that Ryuji and Ren, they actually go inside the palace itself, to where they were the last time, during that art museum palace. And they basically explore everywhere. Now, I really wish they could have done more with the photo stuff, which I wish they could have done when it comes to, like, remember in the video game, you were actually going inside the actual palace, and then, like, you actually get to see, whatchamacallit, you go into the actual palace, right? And then it's like, you go there, and, you know, there's, like, a whole different bunch of portraits, and stuff like that. Oh man, so we actually, okay, with the palace stuff, I didn't mind it too much, like, even though it was actually pretty cool. I actually did like the way they did it here better compared to what they did with Kamoshida's. Here, we actually got to see more exploration around, and I really did like the way how you get a sense of feeling of like what a regular art museum could possibly be like in a way with the portraits. Even though I wish we could have gone more inside the portraits itself, like in the game, how you just go in and there's like effects going around. Then again, they did do that at like the very end of the episode after the credits, where they pretty much found their way out of that freaking picture maze, just to exactly see where their current, like, map out the entire area of the actual palace to actually, you know, finally get a sense of what to do, how to get the treasure, etc. And the way they ended this episode was very cool. I love the way they ended this week's episode as well. And I love the pacing and the build-up, the way we actually got to Monoyimike. This time, it didn't feel too quick. Like, I think the other problems with the other, I would say, first 3-ish episodes, or 2 episodes, no, the first episode was fine. I didn't mind the way they ended off with the first episode. The second episode, I did notice like a lot of like a fast motion stuff going on, which is kind of odd. And then, you know, after that, it followed the same suit. But I would say the pacing, balancing, I think was done better in this episode. Like, I think this episode had one of the best pacings I've seen in Persona in a very, very long time. Like, I think the pacing was absolutely great. I absolutely loved the way they did everything here in the pacing. It was very well done. In the animation, surprisingly, I gotta give it props. The animation for this week was actually much more better improved compared to previous episodes I've seen in the past. Not to mention, when it comes to the big transformation of Yusuke getting his Persona Fox at the very end of the episode, it looked freaking clean. Like, I love the way he powers up. It's like, yo! Like, he powers up, he unleashes the sheath of the sword, and then everything in the background freezes, and it's nuts. I absolutely love the way they did that. But anyways, we actually do find out what he was actually doing, and the actual Sayuri that he had, turns out it was a fake. Like, all those are fake Sayuris, and basically he tells him, you know, he basically finds out that, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm actually, the real Sayuri got stolen, but in reality, no, it didn't. You just didn't like the, you know, that's not the way you did it. In other words, all you've been doing, because ever since your first creation wasn't that great, like, you decided to be like, hey, you know, I'm a bit of a slump, maybe I could just steal other people's art, get credit, and make my own money. And the truth is, he's like, well, I don't have a home in a shack. Like, that's just some, like, bullshit, like, little life I just want to live as a lie in order to be like, hey, you know, that's just what I want to do. I only want to keep this, you know, undercover secret, if you know what I mean. So basically, it was all just smokes and mirrors. But, I mean, yeah, he still does live in that shack with Yosuke, but he's only doing it as of hiding. He does have another home somewhere further with another girl. So in other words, he's saying that this whole thing about, you know, everything that he mentioned is all a big fat reality lie, and Yosuke pretty much fell for a hook, line, and sinker for all these years about how much he was abused, how much he abused Yosuke's talents in order to serve him as his mentor. And yeah, he's just as bad, even worse than I would say Kamoshida was when tried just, you know, just basically abusing and just like taking advantage of students. So yeah, I mean, they're both in that same tier, but I think this is even worse as well. But that again, Kamoshida is pretty fucked up, but this is even a little more fucked up as well, because not only are you just abusing, but you're using their own incredible talents just for you to get credit. That's pretty much of an asshole move, don't you think? So yeah, we did finally get to learn the truth about Monoyimike, and now they know exactly that they made the right decision in order to actually chase after Monoyimike. I also did like the transitions we got from like the actual palace to the actual thing. They did it exactly right they did with the video game, and I absolutely love it with that. And also, we did get ourselves a pretty much a cool battle sequences of them sneaking around, you know, sometimes, you know, like Yuji and like Ken, or not Ken, I'm thinking of Ken, when they actually get caught and then they actually fight one of the guards. That was cool. I did like the attack sequence from Yusuke. That was really cool. Then at the end of the episode, we actually, well, besides the very after end credit stuff, we see that, you know, Yusuke decides to joins up with the actual team, and he didn't really actually have an actual code name. It was kind of funny. They were coming up with all these like names, and then Yosuke's like, well, how about Da Vinci? Then Ryuji's like, what? Oh, come on, man. That name sounds ridiculously way too cool, even for you. So then it's like, you know what? You do have the tail, you have the ears. Granted, that part when he did the pose could have been a bit better. I will admit that animation sequence looked a little bit too wonky, but that was only just that one scene, so I'm not going to really bash on that. But when it comes to this episode, what I loved about this week's episode was, one, the pacing was fine. It wasn't too incredibly quick. And even though we did get from point A to point B at a really good solid speed distance, it wasn't too quick, as a matter of fact, where you're just absolutely gonna get lost, if you know what I mean. So that was cool. So that's pretty much it. And oh yeah, the end of this episode, they ended off where we actually go back to the actual Velvet Room, where you actually go there, and then he says like, and now we have to do your rehabilitation, and he goes like, what do you plan to do with this kind of power that I'm trying to unlock or unleash with this? And then of course Igori just smiles, and that's where we end the episode off. Wow, this episode has to be one of my favorite ones of Persona 5. The Yusuke stuff is on point when it comes to the anime. So I'm glad. I was like, I don't know, if they do the Yusuke stuff not as great as Justice, I might have to, sorry to say, drop Persona 5 the anime. But actually no, they're actually doing a very solid job when it comes to the Yusuke stuff. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. I mean, the animation was fine. Pacing was fine. I had no issues. The pacing was absolutely fine. And the way they did the palace, again, very well done stuff from A1 Pictures. I got to give them credit where credit is due. So that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of this week's episode of Persona 5 the animation. And judging from the little sequences we saw for the next episode, it looks like we are finally going to be entering and finally making, oh yeah, and the calling card. Right, I forgot too, the calling card. The calling card is going to be made as well, but that's going to be in the next episode. We're probably going to see that, obviously. And of course, Yusuke is going to do it. Ryoji, you're done, man. Your career is over as an artist. So yeah, so Fox is gonna take care of that. He's gonna actually make the calling card. So that's it. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Click on that bell to join the squad. Follow my social media plugins, my gamer tags, and my Discord to join the chat to Plus Ultra. Peace, soul, love, chicken grease, and the sky is the limit. And my manga fans, keep supporting Rich What You Watch. And that's it. See you guys next week for episode 8.